Well, the Southeastern Conference has chimed in here today on what happened Saturday night at Tennessee. And the reason I'm talking about this is because it actually affects Georgia in a way. The next home game at Tennessee is Georgia's game up there in November. So the Vols will play at, let's see, Alabama this week. And then a week after that, they play, I can't remember who it is in the league, but it's an away game. And so the SEC today said that Tennessee's got some stuff to clean up, or there's going to be some issues. They play Alabama on the road and they play Kentucky on the road. Let me read you what the SEC had to say today, and this is something that we've got over on dogpost.com right now. It says that the Southeastern Conference announced Monday that Tennessee will be assessed a financial penalty, which was $250,000, and they must meet requirements set forth by the commissioner uh, in order to kind of get back in good graces. The bullet points here are that Tennessee is going to get fined $250,000. They are requiring, from my reading of this, that the school um, see, the thing that people don't understand about these stadiums is that there are cameras everywhere. So if you think like you can run on the field at Sanford, or if you think that you can do any of these different things, you can't. I mean, you can do it, but you're going to be filmed. So all the people that threw stuff at Neyland the other day, there's going to be pictures of them. So not real smart. Here's what they have to say about that section, the SEC. It says that Tennessee is required to use all available resources, including security, stadium, and television video, to identify the individuals who threw objects onto the playing field or at the opposing team. All individuals identified as having been involved in disrupting the game shall be prohibited from attending Tennessee athletic events for the remainder of the academic and athletic year, so until the end of June. Now, the league is telling them they're going to have to do a couple of procedural things, and this is the part that deals with Georgia. It says, following the completion of review and prior to Tennessee's next home game, which is against the Dogs, the university shall provide the SEC office a report to summarize its efforts to identify and penalize offenders and its plan to enact policies to prevent future similar incidents, from ensuing compliance with SEC standards. So the long story short here is that for people like me that are on the field, or the band, or the cheerleaders, or the I can't remember Tennessee's band's name, but everyone who they don't, no one needs stuff thrown on top of them. And if you're throwing stuff from the upper deck, you're going to hit somebody in the lower deck that's a fan of your school. It is not okay what happened Saturday night. I was writing Leggy's thoughts, and it was a little early to write it actually. I mean, I just stopped and watched and kind of gawked. And I know plenty of Tennessee people, and what's happened there is the frustration has kicked in. But you cannot allow someone to wreck the reputation of your school, or whatever you want to call it. That nothing that happened Saturday night is okay. And people will say, well, is $250,000 enough? At a department like Tennessee where money is beyond tight, yeah, $250,000 is a lot of money. That's number one. Number two thing I did not talk about is the SEC has not taken away alcohol from Tennessee, but they might in the coming games. So if something like this happens with Georgia, I think they'll take away alcohol for the season. Number three, it was a $250,000 fine. The next fine, I don't know what that would be. I'm not sure that that's in the bylaws of the league. But I think in the offseason, you're going to see messing with fans messing with players beyond being vocal. That's just not going to work in this league anymore. We've seen too much in the country of folks getting out of control in mob situations. We cannot have that on these campuses. So Tennessee didn't do enough Saturday night. And if this had happened at Georgia, I would have talked about it Saturday night, Sunday, today, tomorrow. This is not okay. And there's going to be some leadership that has to happen coming from at the top. The chancellor, the governor should be involved, frankly, but the chancellor, the president of the institution, the athletic director, they have got to get this under control. It is up to Tennessee to control their fan base and their stadium. That game didn't happen at anywhere other than Neyland. So it's up to Tennessee to clean up the bad apples in the bunch, because I understand it's a proud fan base. I get all that. I am very curious to see tonight, if you're watching this on one of our social channels, you could be watching it on Tuesday. That's why you need to go to dogpost.com, because we do stuff all the time up to date, up to the second. But I'm curious tonight to see what Peyton Manning has to say about this, because people obviously associate him with UT, and this is an embarrassing moment in the history of that school. Rushing the field is one thing. That is something that should not happen. This is totally different and way worse. You should not be doing this stuff. Now, I'm going to speak just for a second about Lane Kiffin, who does not help things sometimes with his antics, I guess you could say, on the sideline. But nothing he did is deserving of the way that this went down. Now, I think probably this is an appropriate first step. If this happens again at Tennessee, you should see some serious repercussions. And if it happens again at Tennessee, it's going to be people like me who are going to get stuff thrown on the top of them. And, you can definitely, from Tennessee, throw something from the upper deck and hit somebody on the field. And that's when it becomes extremely dangerous. So some of us don't have helmets that we can wear. You've got cheerleaders. You've got older people on those sidelines. And even if they're just, we're talking about a young head assistant coach, no one should be in the middle of this. So I think right first step for the league, and let's just see where it goes from there. It's embarrassing for Tennessee. It is. But the way to stop the embarrassment is say, hey, listen, this happened. We're going to assess what happened. We're going to ban those people who we can identify on camera, and they can do it. I've sort of been through this process before, actually, in another way. But there are cameras at the stadiums, 100%. They are always going. So if you think that you're going to, sneak into the stadium and do something, you're not. Don't do it. You will get caught. So $250,000 fine. The alcohol situation is probably up for review. The league didn't take it away from UT, but Tennessee can take it away from itself. The problem, let me just say this as well. Tennessee is one of the few schools in the SEC that has had recently some financial difficulties. So alcohol sales at Neyland, they actually really do matter. I mean, it's important for them to sell alcohol because it's a high revenue stream. $250,000, people are like, well, that's nothing, that's not that much money. That's a lot of money at Tennessee right now. So we've gotten to the point here in this league where if the opposing fans don't think that anything is good enough, but I think this is probably about right. If I were Tennessee, even in the financial situation that I'm in, I would seriously consider just saying, you know what, we're not doing football alcohol right now. This season, we're just not going to do it. The other thing I wonder, and this is what people don't think about that are sort of fans, is, these schools take out insurance policies. And I do wonder if someone were ever to get hurt, how bad the school would get deemed. And it would be pretty significant. I think it would fall under the state, but still, that's a real problem if you're Tennessee. You do not want this you want this black eye gone. You want to get back to the focus on the team, which has been a pretty decent team. And until Saturday night, I had to say, was something that Georgia should be watching for. I think this also takes away from the momentum of their season. In a lot of ways, this thing is really good for Tennessee to go on the road. They don't have to deal with this. But we're going to need some leadership right now. Greg Sankey has provided step one. Now it's time for the AD and the chancellor or president to take it from there. This is not acceptable. It's not okay. These schools are all in business together. And even if they weren't, it's not okay. It's not going to work. We'll see you over on the website.